It's our final PFN of the season.
I see you wearing it on your face. I saw the eyebrows, and I'm getting sad too.
I'm going to start quivering and shaking and tearing up, really. It's been a great season, but we still have one great game ahead of us, we hope.
Yeah.
Now, if the playoffs are any indication, we may be in store for something along the lines of a 10 to 15-point blowout.
Yeah.
Nate, why will this be different than basically all the other games we've seen in this postseason?
Well, it's the Super Bowl matchup. Aside from the Dallas Cowboys being knocked out, these are the best two teams in all of football. And here's the thing about playoffs. I don't want people to get misunderstood. Yeah, the matchups, they're slotted in a way that there is an advantage. And, yeah, they didn't shake out the way we would like them to see as fans. We want big scoring games and it to be close. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Now we're in the Super Bowl, and you have the ultimate offense. It could be one of the best Super Bowl offenses of all time up against the number one defense, and I know stats can be thrown out the window, but more importantly, one of the best coaching staffs of all time. You give these guys 2 weeks to get ready for Atlanta. What does that say about the type of matchup? That means this is going to be a close game. I said it a couple weeks ago, and I'll say it again. This could be the most entertaining Super Bowl of all time.
Wow, that's a major limb to go out, and we'll talk to you Monday morning to see if that actually came true. You mentioned number one scoring defense against number one scoring offense. What is going to give in this game?
You know, I guess history would tell you that the number one defense is going to have the advantage. I say the opposite. It's going to be the number one offense. And when the offense is rolling just right, it's hard to stop that. And, yeah, the Green Bay Packers, they came up against a buzzsaw, and Atlanta kind of dismantled them. But Atlanta's different offensively. If you take away one weapon, then they have another. You take away that one, then they have another. And then there's a couple more. So I've been on offenses before. We've been very prolific. There's only been a couple guys where I knew each game you can count on them. This offense is different. You're talking about 5 guys that can literally go off and have 100 yards in the air or 100 yards on the ground. And not to mention, if Julio catches a rhythm, I mean, he's like a shooting guard in the NBA. He can get really hot and put up 300 yards.
We know that Belichick is probably going to try to take Julio Jones away. But if we've gotten to learn anything about the coach, it's that he has something up his sleeve.
Yeah.
What could that be?
It's going to be offensively. There wouldn't be a game plan where you would say, you know what, we're going to try something tricky in one-on-one Julio. No, that would be the dumbest thing ever. You try the tricks on the offensive side of the ball because you can catch the defense off guard. If you go out there, we saw Julio talk this week. He said, man, I was surprised that they would put one guy on me. And once they put one guy on me, I went to work. So, yeah, Malcolm Butler, great cornerback, very good at the line of scrimmage, aggressive hands, aggressive when the ball is in the air. But if he's one-on-one with Julio, I'm giving Julio the advantage every time. And not to take anything away from Malcolm, it's just that Julio is so big, 6'3", 6'4", 240, 4'3", 44-inch vertical. You can't stop that. So the wrinkle is going to be on the offensive side of the ball. Everything else is going to look just like they did against the Steelers, which is Malcolm Butler underneath and safety help over the top.
And we saw what they did against Antonio Brown, incredibly effective.
Exactly.
Okay, on the Falcons side of things, what wrinkle do you expect them to bring to the table? We know that Kyle Shanahan's playbook was lost for several minutes at media night.
Yeah.
What do you think the Patriots could have found if they located that?
Well, there was something in there, top secret. Did you see that face of worry on Kyle Shanahan? He was like, holy, yeah, it was more than a contact lens. You know, for me, I think it's going to have to be with a receiver, and mainly I'm looking at Sanu. His history with throwing the ball. We saw a little bit of it in the postseason, him and that Wildcat, and he just ran the ball. I think they brought somebody and pulled in front of him, and he tried to get the first down. But now you put him back there. The defense for the Patriots, they're expecting it. Now they know the run can come. They know maybe the pitch, the read option can come. But what they haven't seen is him throwing the ball. And I was looking at some highlights when he was at Cincinnati, and he has an arm. So I would hope that Kyle Shanahan can dial that up. I don't know if it's going to be early or late, but he needs a trick play because guess what? The Patriots, they're going to have at least 2 in this game.
Is there a prop bet? I mean, can we put a little money on whether or not we're going to see Mohamed Sanu with a pass? That would be pretty amazing. I got to get your pick for this game. Who do you think is going to win?
You're going to put the pressure on me right now, Max? I mean, I wanted to wait.
Show.
All right, it's our final show. Logic tells me that the Atlanta Falcons, they're the team to beat. They're too good on offense. Their defense is opportunistic. But my gut says that the wisdom, the experience, the knowledge, the coaching staff for the Patriots will prevail. And we'll see another Super Bowl, a lot more jewelry in Robert Kraft's cabinet, a lot more jewelry in Belichick's cabinet, and another ring in Tom Brady's jewelry box.
Okay, well, we know that his legacy is going to be sealed with Brady and Belichick if they win another one. But I'm curious for the other side, for the Falcons, for example. Julio Jones, he's a wide receiver. Where does his legacy begin? How can he start to create his own? Because, you know, for wide receivers, you know, it's a little bit different. For quarterbacks, it's about winning. What is it for wideouts?
You know, the legacy is starting right now, and once you start the conversation, you say potential All-Pro, potential Hall of Famer, that's when you know you're cementing your legacy. I mean, time will tell. Longevity is going to have to be on the side. We had Tim Brown on our show earlier, and the Hall of Famer Tim Brown said that Julio is by far the best receiver in the league. The ability to go outside and inside, take that tall frame, condense it in the slot, and then really put work in across the field. And the guy that's really unapologetic, the way he goes across the middle, like he's not saying sorry that I'm in your territory, safety, linebacker. He's going to do work. So for me, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, look, the legacy has already started. Now it's just going and just stamping the fact that you can do it in the Super Bowl.
Nate, it's been such a fun season. Think of all the memories we have.
Great
we got
memories.
to talk with Cameron.
We
got
did.
to throw footballs at you.
We
You caught
did.
them all.
I tried to catch a ball over you. You got a PBU, a pass breakup.
We had therapist couch,
We
all
did.
that fun stuff. It's been a fantastic
It's been a
season.
good year.
Thank you. Enjoy the game.
Thank you. You're the best.
Super Bowl 51 pits Atlanta's #1 scoring offense versus New England's #1 scoring D. But what matters more, a good offense or a good defense? The average defensive rank for Super Bowl winners is 5.72, while the average offensive rank is 6.36. 30% of champions had the #1 ranked D, while only 20% had the #1 ranked O. Twice, the team with the #1 offense and the #1 defense has triumphed, but it's a rare occurrence for one team to have both. It's much more likely that the Super Bowl winner isn't ranked #1 in either. In fact, it's happened 27 of the 50 Super Bowls. The Giants' 2007 defense is the worst to ever hoist the Lombardi Trophy, coming in at 25th. But before them, no other team ranked lower than 13th won. The worst offense comes in a little bit higher at 20, but 11 champions have won with an offense outside of the top 10. Defense still wins championships, but in the last 10 years, high-powered offenses have begun to bail out porous fronts. So, who you got?
Andrew Perloff here for SI at NFL opening night. Now you're going to hear a lot of quotes and words coming out of Patriots and Falcons' mouths, but I want to talk to some of the media members and some of the players about the questions that didn't really work out.
The weirdest question?
Oh, man. I just had to say a love letter thing to Tom Brady. That was a little weird.
Cooper, what's the worst question you asked tonight?
You know, I got kind of on the food topic, and we worked our way into mayonnaise.
Do I like pickles? It was kind of weird.
Someone asked me how my off season was going.
And I asked the guy if he was going to eat a bucket of mayonnaise against Vince Wilfork, would he use a fork, a knife, and he told me he'd use his hands. That's it. Pretty rotten.
Would you do that?
I love mayonnaise. I can eat it by the pound.
How did I like the dress that the cameraman was wearing?
The question you just asked me, what is the weirdest question I've been asked all night?
I just asked Matt Ryan if I could come over to his house for Christmas this year, and he kicked me straight in the nuts. It was a weird answer. Anyway, I'm not feeling that great, so I have to go.
Wait, are you going for Christmas or no? What?
I actually haven't got a weird question yet.
Tom, what's a bad question to ask the Patriots?
Have you ever seen Donald Trump naked?
Well, it's a little embarrassing to admit, but I got Arthur Blank for about 20 minutes today over by the stage, and I asked him something to the effect of how great it was to win last weekend. So, yeah, that one I'm still kicking myself for.
Rob Gronkowski, teeth, waking up to having someone's teeth. They still doesn't know who they are. They were on his counter. I'd probably go with that one, yeah.
It's been a weird night.
Andrew, what gave you the idea to ask about bad media questions at media night?
It's so funny. I mean, media night has probably been less than serious for some time now. I felt that even with the Patriots and all the storylines, everyone knows you're not going to get any news out of it.
It's literally the opposite of journalism.
Yeah, exactly.
The irony that it's called media night when it's not really
Yeah.
journalism. But something that is really legitimate are legacies. And there are several that are on the line in the Super Bowl for Belichick and for Brady. I mean, what would this mean, Andrew, if they both got 5 Super Bowl rings?
Well, it's huge. I mean, Brady immediately goes to the top of the list of quarterbacks, possibly players of all time. Because let's face it, he's at the sport's most important position. So if he's the greatest quarterback, he's probably the best player. And Belichick, wow, 5 Super Bowls would sit alone. Same thing, best coach of all time. That's all that's at stake, is being the best of all time at what you do.
Well, I think you can make an argument for both of them already, perhaps being the best of all time. And to me, the thing that I think it's more for Brady because it is like Belichick is going to be smart at 55 and he is at 65.
Yeah.
For Brady to still be doing this 15 years after he wins the first championship, to me that's
So
the
Brady
really
has
amazing.
more to gain.
He has more to
Legacy.
gain without question. To
Oh,
win
yeah.
his 5th title at the age of 39, not in the way, no offense to Peyton Manning, but not in the way that Peyton Manning won it. Like he will be the reason that they win this game if they win, as
totally
opposed to
agree.
Manning just kind of
Yeah.
being along for the ride.
And also, and I'm not sure we agree on this, I think Belichick will have a chance post-Brady if he decides to coach some more. I know some people think they'll ride off in the sunset together, but hey, they were 3-1 without Brady this year. I think Belichick might want that challenge.
Who's to say that the two of them aren't done winning Super Bowls if they get the mission accomplished on Sunday? So with that in mind, I mean, how big is the window for the Patriots right now with Tom Brady at 39 years of age?
I don't care about the age. Tom Brady wins with this, his mind. The question is, will he have the desire to work hard in the offseason? Tom Brady doesn't have the best arm. He's not really that accurate deep. I think if he wants to win and is going to work, he could play 2 or 3 more years. And with Brady at the helm in that division, come on, Patriots are getting a home playoff game till Brady retires.
I mean, this is the thing in the NFL. Why teams always want to win? Like we wanted Elway to win his championship and retire and go off into the sunset, and Manning kind of did that. Like in the other context,
Manning did that.
yeah, but he didn't really win the game for them
That's
themselves.
probably true.
And
He's the winning quarterback of record for that game.
as was Trent Dilfer. And so to me, like the argument for it's really hard to make a Super Bowl. Like it's really hard. I think it's been 2 years since the Patriots has been in the Super Bowl, which we think was just like that. In 2 years, Brady will be 41 years old. The idea that he's just going to like, this is his opportunity to stick it to Goodell, to win something that no one else has ever done. What a more perfect time to do it. Because to me, the Patriots seem to me like one of the best teams in the AFC, and you're right, they could do well in the AFC East. It's still really hard to make a Super Bowl. If you've got the chance to walk off now, as opposed to walking off in Pittsburgh in late December, would be disappointing. Like this is what every athlete and coach say that they want. They want to be champions and walk away. They've got that opportunity here. As good as they are, it's going to be harder for them to do that in the future.
I think it's different. I think that athletes never want to give in. They always believe that there's another one.
That would be the mistake in this regard.
So you honestly think there's any chance that Brady retires if they win on Sunday?
I would say that it should be on the table that the secret of Belichick and Brady, they win the Super Bowl, and then the whole time they've been like, this is going to be the last year. It's on the table.
I give
on
it
the table.
0% chance.
Yeah, I would say
he is so
0.5.
He's got to compete. He's got that. And even if after the season he says, I'm going to retire, he'll be a Brett Favre. He's not going away. Peyton Manning had to have his neck fused, and he came back.
Yeah.
These guys cannot sit down, and Brady's as competitive as any of them.
Okay, what about the Falcons in terms of their championship window? They are obviously here for the second time in franchise history, but first time with this iteration of the Falcons. Will?
Yeah, see, I think on one hand they look so good right now, and it's not like they're like an old team or anything.
Right.
On the other hand, everything has fallen right for them though. Like they played in the division where the Panthers had an off year that no one's really expecting them to have. They've stayed healthy. Everyone's really been healthy all during this playoff run. They've got Kyle Shanahan. They will not have Kyle Shanahan next year. To me, this is the thing about the Falcons. Because they're young and they're so exciting right now, it feels like, this is just the start of something. But this is the NFL, and weird things happen all the time. Everything fell perfectly for the Falcons this year. This feels to me like anytime you're in the Super Bowl, it's your best chance. But this feels like if they let this opportunity get away from them, it may be a lot harder to get back than they think.
I kind of agree, especially the Kyle Shanahan loss. That offense is just clicking right now. But a little part of me says Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Matt Ryan, they're going to be in play. I think that whatever hump they needed to get over, they got over this year. So the question is, as long as their offense doesn't fall apart without Shanahan, that's a team who could have a lot of home playoff games as well. So I totally understand. I feel like they're a little bit.
They're not falling off a cliff.
Yeah, they're not Jamal Anderson Falcons. I think they're going to be a little more competitive.
Think about their secondary, the youngest. I mean, guys are rookies, and if you have that foundation of a great defense, that's always what can help you get back to multiple Super Bowls.
And Dan Quinn's building a Seattle-type defense, and you saw that, I think, sort of halfway through this year, you started to see those Seattle kind of plays. That's a great point, Maggie.
These are all things we said about Carolina last year. It's just worth noting.
Carolina's window may still be open as well. We'll talk about that once the Super Bowl is over. But, Will, you've thought a little bit more about what a Super Bowl win would mean to the city of Atlanta.
When you think of tortured sports cities, you think of Cleveland or Buffalo or even Washington. Look, when we pour one out for Atlanta, in the last 55 years, Atlanta has won one championship in the 4 major North American professional sports. And it was the 1995 Braves, the year after the strike, when no one was paying any attention to baseball at all. I know. you think Atlanta is a lousy sports town. But you're wrong. Atlanta is the stealth Cleveland. The Braves won 11 straight division titles and only one ignored championship. The Hawks have never made the NBA Finals despite making the playoffs 32 times. Their hockey team couldn't get out of town fast enough. And don't get Atlanta residents started on the annual heartbreak of the Georgia Bulldogs. But the Falcons have been the worst of it. They had peak Michael Vick. They had the Dirty Birds. They had the Jerry Glanville, Deion Sanders, hammer too legit to quit years. But they always fell short in the playoffs. The one Super Bowl they made will be remembered more for what happened the night before the game than for how quickly they were blown off the field during it. Atlanta sports teams are never bad exactly. They never win anything. The difference though, Atlanta fans always believe this time is going to be different. They even get cocky about it. I live in Athens, Georgia, and trust me, everybody there thinks the Falcons are invincible. Cubs fans didn't think this. Cavaliers fans didn't think this. Red Sox fans surely didn't think this. But Atlanta fans keep thinking that this is the time that Lucy's not going to yank the football. It's hilarious. They're like goldfish that keep forgetting that they're goldfish, or what water is, or that they're goldfish, or what water is, or that they're goldfish. But for the first time, they actually have people rooting for them. Have you ever rooted for an Atlanta sports team before? Have you ever even noticed an Atlanta sports team before? But now, America is all coming together to cheer on the Atlanta not Patriots. Look, the Falcons are the side story of this Super Bowl of Brady and Belichick and Goodell and Martellus Bennett's whole bacon thing.
No one likes Canadian bacon. I prefer crispy bacon, American bacon, good American bacon, crunchy bacon. Bacon's delicious. I don't know. I haven't met too many people who don't. My wife don't even like pork and she eats bacon.
But to Atlanta fans, the Falcons are the team they've been waiting their whole lives for. This is their time. So, for Donald Glover, for Bad and Bougie, for Blondie at the Claremont Lounge, for a city that wants a championship as much as any town has wanted anything. Heck, even Cleveland eventually won something. And thanks to Tom Brady, Atlanta and the Falcons are at last America's team.
But will they make America great again? We'd have to probably ask Tom Brady, because he's the one with the Make America Great Again hat that was behind his locker that really sparked a lot of this political conversation that folded into football, and then it goes from there. This has been a storyline now at this Super Bowl, which is very unique and not one that I've seen in the 7 Super Bowls that I've ever covered. When it comes to players saying publicly whether or not they will visit the White House if indeed they win a championship. Is this the right statement to make, Will, when players say either, yes, I am fully in, I want to meet the president, or no, I don't like the person in office, so I'm going to stay away?
Listen, I certainly understand the statement that the Bears are making. In fact, a lot of people are making. I get it. But remember when the 72 Dolphins, they had that honor ceremony where they were going to go see Obama, and there were like 4 or 5 players that said, no, we don't want to go see Obama. I argued then, so therefore I must argue now, that was very silly. Like the idea, like think of the number of people that live in the United States. To meet to be in the White House, to meet the President of the United States, people live their entire lives wondering what it would be like to be in there. This, regardless of what you think about the office, this is a rare opportunity to be in the White House. And frankly, to me, I think there's nothing wrong with them saying that, like, I would not want to go to visit President Trump, but then actually going and, I don't know, make a face or something, or like ask him a tough question. But to me, I feel like it's so difficult. So many Americans never get that opportunity to be able to do that, even if you want to, even if you don't reject, if you reject the president himself, it still feels like a waste.
You know,
I get the statement.
I think the issue is that the White House is using you for a political gain. I think Donald Trump used Tom Brady for political gain. So basically, when you go to the White House, you're helping that president with a political task. And I think you have a choice about whether you want to help the president with his political task. I think, you know, you're not doing a public service there. You're serving the president for his needs, which are political needs. So I have no problem if you say, you know what, for whatever reason, whether it's personal or political, if you say, I don't think you're being disrespectful to the White House if you don't want to participate in that activity, which is so specifically a photo op for the president. You know, look at, I know Trump, as I mentioned, uses Brady for his means, and I think Obama used sports for his political means all the time, too.
Was it okay when people went to go see Obama, or was that?
Well, I mean, was it okay when Tom Brady didn't go to see Obama? Right. In my mind, yes, because Obama, you know, that administration wanted to use Brady as a political means. So why? It's up to him. You know, if we get invited, I mean, obviously, I think people want to be seen with Will Leach and Andrew Perloff. We don't just show up anywhere for a photo op. Yeah, exactly.
Respected on both sides of it.
It's actually non-partisan. Nobody really wants to see us.
That's what's interesting about Brady specifically, is that he did not go to the White House when President Obama was in office. We know that he does think about politics. As I mentioned, he had Trump's hat. He's admitted before that he was reading a book written by Bill Clinton. We know that he is actually informed. Yet when he sits up at a podium and says, I'm not paying attention to anything that's going on, I'm just focused on football, does it come off as a little disingenuous? Because we know that he has to be more than just a football player. He's a human being. He's a citizen of this country.
You know what? It doesn't strike me as disingenuous, but it's so consistent. It's a Patriot way. That's the old football line. Oh, I don't know anything. Nick Saban
Didn't know it was election day.
Didn't know it was election day, that was a lie. It's totally lame what Brady has done. It's almost comical, but he's basically, go ahead and laugh at me. I am doing the team first thing here, so I'm okay with it.
I think it's weird that I understand why Brady's taking some heat for it. Though honestly, I feel like if you already dislike Brady, this becomes another cudgel with which to bludgeon him with. To me, I'm surprised that Belichick doesn't get this constantly. Belichick literally sent a note to Trump that he read the night before Election Day, also, and talked in the cadence of Trump, by the way. I had no idea that Bill Belichick talked the way that Trump spoke. It's weird that I understand because Brady is the face and he had the hat, and like Brady is this guy that's such a polarizing person. But to me, it seems strange that Belichick doesn't get this a lot worse than Brady does.
Maybe juxtaposed with Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr, other coaches who are really respected, whether he wants to come out for the president or against, just the fact that he wouldn't be honest and be open about what he thinks. But listen, that is his right as an American.
That's Bill Belichick.
That is Belichick. As if we'd expect anything less. I think it's kind of fitting that we finished on this sort of political talk. It's been a lot of fun with you guys. I feel like we've raised the conversation. We've tried to elevate it this whole season. It's been a lot of fun with both of you.
Of course, unlike politics. But yes, we have raised the conversation.
We can disagree, and at the end of the day, I'll visit Will's house and I'll have no problem with it.
But I am president. You can come visit me. I hope you'll.
But I can't let you go without getting your prediction for the game. Who do you think's going to win?
For me, Atlanta reminds me so much of that Greatest Show on Turf. It feels like that kind of team. It feels like an offense that's unstoppable. They've scored 8 touchdowns the last 8 games, touchdowns the first possession every time. But what's the one team that stopped that Greatest Show on Turf? Who's the one coach that did that? That's Belichick. To me, I feel like there's a lot of points in this game, but I feel like there will be more ways for the Patriot defense to stop Ryan than for the Falcons defense to stop what the Patriots are doing. I know we think of this as like this high-scoring game that's really close. I actually think it might not be. I feel like the Patriots win this by like 10.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick with 2 weeks to look at that young defense of Atlanta, he's going to pick it apart. Here's how it's going to go down. LeGarrette Blount is going to hit him like a hammer first, then Brady's going to spread him out. High-scoring game. I expect Atlanta to score. I actually made a prediction 31-26, just to be different. No one has 26 in their score. So, I think Atlanta goes for 2 late, misses it. It's a 31-26 game.
Okay. Gosh, I guess I'm going to have to go with the Patriots in this one. I've seen it too many times. I really have, and that's about it. Guys, thanks for a great season. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching this season of Pro Football Now. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll see you next season.